Good morning, teacher.
Hey, how's it going, girls? Give me just 1 second. I'm gonna write down your names. Let me see. Who do we have here? I have Dania and Viviana. All right.
Yes,
Thank you
teacher.
for being here. Let me just write down your names. Okay, I get it. So, I'm gonna share my screen. In the meantime, I'm gonna please ask you to mute your microphones. And so when we talk, you're gonna unmute yourselves. Okay. So, today we're gonna talk about concise writing. And this is related to how to write low-fat prose. This, of course, is an analogy. However, in the world of writing, there's this term. It's called low-fat prose. And I have here a couple of images. And it says, get rid of the bloat. So I want you to look at this and think for a second, how can this possibly relate to writing? Of course, we have image number 1 right here. And this is a style of writing. And we have image number 2, and this is a style of writing. So, Viviana, let's start with you, please.
The exercise talking about the picture.
Yes, how do you think this relates to writing?
Could you repeat the question, teacher, please?
Yes, how do you think these images relate to writing?
Relate to writing. For compare this picture, I need to use a word that contract ideas.
All right.
Why?
That's close. However, look, the title of this presentation is concise writing. So this is gonna give you an idea. Concise writing. If we want to write something good, we need to get rid of the fat. So that's gonna give you an idea. Now let's go with Dania. Please tell me if you have any idea on how would you relate these images to writing.
Maybe with the style of writing, like there are people that like to use extra vocabulary to decorate what they are saying, but sometimes it can be a little bit redundant.
Very good. That's the style. So, you're talking about redundancy, extra vocabulary. Which one of those would you think relates to that one, to the extra vocabulary and redundancies? Number 1 or number 2? All right. So what do you think about image number 2? And precisely talking about writing, what that's supposed to mean? What image?
Well, it means that you have to know how to express without the need of extra vocabulary. Again, the idea is not to sound redundant, so you can be like specific in what you want to transmit to other people.
Very good. And that's supposed to look better, right?
Yeah.
Great. Now, Viviana, would you agree with Dania?
teacher, in this case, I need to extra vocabulary and words that describe in detail um, the in detail the imagine that I can see.
Well, it's actually the opposite of that. We need to get rid of extra vocabulary. We need to write things more simple. And this is what those images are telling us. Now, there are some principles of concise writing. First, let me use my pointer. Okay. Use positive constructions. We're gonna talk about what are positive constructions. Clean it up. Avoid filler phrases. Streamline sentences. Omit unneeded words. This is what Daniel was telling us. When we use extra vocabulary, well, the idea is to stop doing that. Watch for unnecessary prepositional phrases. And make fancy words plain. This is something we also call elegancy. So some people like to write in an elegant manner. However, we need to stop doing that. Now let's go ahead with the second slide. All right, now we have positive constructions. So we have two lists. First, the first one is called avoid this. Okay, give me 1 second because I remember I have to record this. Great. Oh, and we also have Laura. Great. Laura, let me write down your name. All right, let's go back. So we have two lists. First, we have some words or some phrases that we should avoid. We should not use this. And we have a second list that's called use this instead. And of course, we should use this as opposed to the first list. So let's read the first list. It's called avoid this. And I want Laura to help me reading this list. So go ahead, Laura.
Not all, not many, not late, not negative, not efficient, not possible, not happy.
Thank you. Very good. Now let's go ahead with Dania. And please read use this instead.
Use this instead. Must, few, punctual, positive, inefficient, impossible, upset, depressed.
Very good. Thank you, Daniel. Now, Viviana, what is the difference you find between avoid this and use this instead?
In this case, the exercise use a positive positive word in contrast with the negative word. In this case, we must make sentence with positive vocabulary.
Very good. That's it. It's very simple. I'm gonna give you girls an example of that. Let me open my whiteboard. Okay. So if we have not spelling, I'm sorry. Correctly. Dania, which one would you say is a positive construction to that?
Do you want me to make it positive, not spelling correctly?
Yes.
Verify your spelling.
It would actually be misspelling.
Oh, I didn't remember that one.
That's okay. Now, how about not writing correctly? I got some cable right here that's not letting me correctly. Okay, so we have no writing correctly. That's a negative construction. Dania, again, how would you make it positive?
Miswriting?
Miswriting.
No, I don't remember a lot of positive constructions.
But you get the idea, right?
Yeah, I get the idea.
Well, actually is miswriting. Now finally, and for this I want Laura to help me. So if we have a not understanding, correctly, how would you make a positive construction to that sentence?
Can be the same, misunderstanding.
Misunderstanding, right? That is correct. So here's the thing. Sometimes when we have to write essays where they ask us for a precise number of pages, we often rely to using bloated sentences, writing more than we need to. This is the case of not spelling correctly instead of saying misspelling. Well, it's actually gonna give us more space and it's gonna give us an appearance that we're writing more. However, when we get to read those, it's tiresome. So one reason, and one big reason to stop doing that, is because we want our reader to keep engaged. Now that's it for positive constructions. You girls understood that very well. Now how about less filler, more flavor? So we have here what words are filler and keep important words. So Laura, please read what words are the filler.
I think that basically the board feel sort of reject in a sense by the kind of behavior the president displayed.
Very good. How about keep important words and the list? Dania, go ahead and read that.
The board felt betrayed by the president's behavior. I think that basically, sort of, in a sense, kind of.
Okay, very well. Now, Viviana, what can you say that this slide is telling us?
Telling us. I don't understand, teacher.
That's okay. How about you, Dania?
Can you repeat the question again, please?
Yes. So, what do you think this particular slide is telling us?
The slide?
Yes, the less filler, more flavor. What is this all about?
Okay, this is about writing without substance. So, like I said before, we tend to use extra vocabulary that doesn't really add valuable information to the piece that we are writing. And well, depending on what we are writing, the idea is always to keep the interest of the reader. And if you start like rambling around with
Mhm.
vocabulary that is not necessary without giving any information that is considered valuable, the person that is reading is gonna get tired and is gonna get bored.
Perfect. And I like that you say valuable. That's extremely important. Now, right here, we have two sentences that are basically the same sentence. We have, I think that basically the board felt sort of betrayed, in a sense, by the kind of behavior the president displayed. And then we have, the board felt betrayed by the president's behavior. This is exactly the same sentence. However, one has fillers and the other only keeps the more important words. The most important words. Now, Laura, which of these two do you think has the fillers and which of these has only the important words?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that question, please?
Yes. So we have here two sentences, 1 and 2. One has fillers and the other doesn't have fillers. So which one do you think has fillers? Unnecessary words.
Well, I don't know what to emphasize.
Okay, well, fillers are these words. I think that, basically, sort of, in a sense, kind of. We don't need to use that because they're not giving us anything of meaning. On the other hand, we have here, for example, I think basically the board felt sort of betrayed. The board felt betrayed. This is important. I know that I have to talk about this. In a sense. Do I have to use in a sense? Well, let's go ahead and keep on reading. By the kind of behavior the president displayed. Well, we have the kind of behavior the president displayed. I know this is important. However, I have in a sense and kind of. I don't need to use kind of or in a sense because that doesn't have enough information for me. That's how I know some words are fillers and some others are important words. What I was asking you about is to tell me which sentence has fillers and which one doesn't. So of course we have here the sentence with fillers right here. It even has a title. And keep important words. It's right here. The only important words of this sentence are right here. The board felt betrayed by the president behavior. That in conclusion means let's stop using these fillers. I think that basically sort of, in a sense, kind of. Alright? Let's go ahead. We're gonna do some exercise to make that clearer. Add energy by streamlining explanations. We have sluggish style and streamlined style. Let's start reading first streamlined. Now, Dania, please help me read the streamlined explanation.
Streamlined. The market for flash memory chips is dominated by Intel and advanced microsystems. Two companies that claim 76% of the $1.3 billion industry last year.
Very well, thank you. Now, Viviana, please read the sluggish paragraph.
Sluggish. The market for the sale of flash memory chip is dominated by two chip manufacturers
Mhm.
and advanced microsystem. Chip manufacturers are 6% of the 1 million 3 billion market in flash memory chip last year.
Very good, thank you. So, Tanya, about the sluggish, now we have the sluggish and the streamline. Of course, the sluggish has some more words, some more fillers, and some words that are not used in the streamline version. What of those words do you think or do you see that are being replaced or eliminated in the streamline?
Well, the first word that they like subtracted was manufacturers, right? Two chip manufacturers, and then we have Colon, Intel, and Advanced Microsystems. And in the other, they tell us directly which are the companies that are dominating the market.
Perfect. Go ahead. Keep on talking.
Okay. Then they have like an introduction again. In these two chip manufacturers are responsible, and in the other paragraph, they go straight ahead to the remaining information. Two companies that that is a compound sentence that makes reference to the two companies that we are talking about in the streamlined paragraph. So it isn't necessary to repeat the information as you advance with the telling of the news.
Very well. So the streamline is getting rid of repeated information, and most of those repeated versions are just nouns and what's the other? These two manufacturers are responsible, and also some verbs. Well, in conclusion, you said it very well. The streamline just gives the information that we need. So what can we say from the sluggish version? Well, stop repeating subjects when they're already mentioned in a paragraph. You don't have to repeat those. And also verbs. You can go straight ahead and tell what's your idea. And here we have the example of the two manufacturers. You don't have to say these two manufacturers again. As you talking about Intel and Microsystems, you just want to say that they claim 76% of the 1.3 billion industry last year. So this is sluggish because it has a lot of unnecessary wording, whereas the streamline is just right to the point. Before we continue, Laura, would you agree that what Dania said was correct?
Yeah.
Okay, and how about Viviana? Is this clear for you?
Yes, teacher.
Very well. So, let's continue. Now we're gonna talk about problematic prepositional phrases. What's the problem here? And see the solution here. So, first, let's go ahead with Viviana. Please read column number 1, the one on the left.
At the present time, with the solution too
No, just the column.
at the present time. And the other, read
Yes.
again.
2, 3, 4.
At, at the present time, during the course of, in the event that, in view the fact that, on a daily basis, prior, prior to the conclusion of.
Very well. Now, Laura, please read the solutions.
Now, during while, if, because, daily, before, after, following.
Very well, thank you. Now, what do we see here? Well, we're talking about not only prepositional phrases but also transitional phrases that we use to talk about more information. And so, most of the time, we tend to use the problematic prepositional phrases, like at the present time can be just simply replaced by now. During the course of can be simply replaced by during, while. This is the same case in the event that, if, in the view of the fact that, because, on a daily basis, daily, prior to, before, at the conclusion of, after, or following. And so the invitation is to keep using as fewer words as you can. And that's it. Now, at the beginning of this presentation, we were talking about bloated wording and slim wording. So I'm guessing that at this point, you can now better relate which sentences and which paragraphs are bloated, full of gas, and which ones are slim. So we're gonna talk more about slimming the sentences. So for this, I want you girls to take a look on this exercise, and I want you to make it slimmer, however you can. So first I'm gonna read. At the present time, in the view of the fact that we have elections coming in less than 2 months, it is very important to take into consideration the voting records of the candidates. So take a very good look on this, and I want you to give me this exact same idea in a slimmer version. So please write that down on the Skype chat. Write me the answer. Dania, you got what is the exercise about?
Yes, we have to give the same idea in a sentence with much less words.
Very well. How about you, Viviana? You got it?
This is a second write short form.
Yes. So
Yes.
write the short version on Skype and let me read it. You're gonna have 5 minutes for that.
Okay, teacher.
I'm gonna do something. I'm gonna copy this. Okay, already got one answer. Very well. So I'm gonna copy this. I know. Thought about copying it to make it easier, but no. Let's go back. Got another message. Okay, Daniel, Laura, now we're just waiting for Viviana. Very good. So Viviana, you have 2 minutes left. Mm, 1 minute left, Viviana. Okay, Viviana left. So let's read first Danias. With the elections approaching in 2 months, keeping the records of the candidates is now a priority. Very good. You get rid of all of the unnecessary fillers. Very good. Now, if we have the elections during 2 months, take into consideration the voting records of the candidates. Okay, so Laura, this is very good, but you can also get rid of something else right here. If we have elections during 2 months, take into consideration the voting records of the candidates. Well, not necessarily eliminating something, but you could replace something. So I want you to think about it and tell me what would you change of your sentence. Laura.
Teacher, I'm sorry, I don't understand.
Okay, don't worry. Let's see if Dania can help you out. Dania, which words would you replace or eliminate from Laura's paragraph?
Well, I know that it is not part of the exercise, but I think that the first if should be replaced in some shape or form.
Only the if?
Well, at the moment, that's the thing that is distracting me the most from the sentence.
Okay, how about take into consideration?
Maybe we can change it for be aware of voting records. Oh, sorry, be aware of the voting records of the candidates.
Well, that will actually make it the same length. So my advice is to stop using take into consideration for considering. That I will read. We have elections during 2 months. Considering the voting records of the candidates, well, in this case, we also need to talk that is important, like Daniel said, it's a priority. So considering the voting records of the candidates is a priority, and that will be it. But very good examples of you two. Now let's go back, because we have at the present time can be replaced by now. During the course of, we don't have that. In the event that, we don't have that either. If in the view of the fact that, because I think we had that. To take into consideration, considering we made that, voting records of the candidates. This cannot be replaced because it's the only information we can get from that. Okay, so in conclusion, the idea is to make fancy words plain and simple. Why? Because when you're writing, you're probably writing to someone else, and you want to make your reading as simple as possible, because we live in a world where we don't have so much time, and if we read something and we feel like you're making us waste some of our time, where we're not gonna like that. So the invitation is to write plainly and simple. We have here some examples. Avoid fancy words and use plain words. So, Dania, please read the fancy words list.
Initiate or commence, quantify, utilize, furnish, perform, manifest, attempt, advise, terminate.
Very good. Now, Laura, please read the plain words.
Begin, measure, use, provide, give, do, show, try, tell, in, step.
Very good. Now, Dania, why do you think we should speak plainly as opposed to elegantly? When we write, I said speak, but I meant write.
Because I think that fancy words, depending on the people that we intend to read our piece, can be a little distracting. Like maybe some people are not familiar with them or they are not used to them, and the message can take a little longer to process mentally, like the idea that we want to give to other people.
Very well. Let's imagine that you're trying to explain the theory of relativity. You could either use fancy words, and your theory is going to sound very fancy, or you can use plain words. Well, what will happen if you explain the theory of relativity using plain words? Do you think it's going to be more understandable or harder to understand?
It's gonna be a lot harder because to begin with, you're trying to explain a mathematical concept, which is not something people can imagine easily. And if on top of that you add extra vocabulary that people are not familiar with, then they are gonna be confused by the concept and by the vocabulary that you're using.
Very well. It was amazingly explained. So that's it. Also, so when that was just an example of when we have to explain something. So when we have to explain something, we also want to give some easier time to that person that we're trying to explain that something. And so, well, in that case, we need to use plain words because plain words are easier to understand. Now I have to finalize this exercise. This presentation, I mean, 2 exercise. Now, let me see if we have time for this one. Let's start first with the second one, all right? So, this is a quiz. And it's about speaking plainly, simplifying fancy words. So it says, choose from the words below to make the fancy words plainer. We have initiate, quantify, utilize. And you also here have the bank words. So words to use. And begin, stop, measure, tell, use, try, provide, show, give. These are the answers. So I want you to give the corresponding answer to each of them. Let me see if I have here the no, I thought I had the file. So we're gonna make this from my screen. So I'm gonna copy this into the chat. Oh, Viviana, thank you for coming. So now that we have elections within 2 months, it is important to keep in mind the records of the candidates. That's very good. It's perfect. Now we're gonna do another exercise. These are the answers of that exercise. And I'm gonna give you also showing you my screen. So you're gonna mark 1, this is the answer. 2, this is the answer. 3, this is the answer. Make it on a Word document because you don't want to give out your answers. And you're gonna have 5 minutes for that.
Sorry, teacher. Can you explain me this exercise because my internet
Yes, so look,
doesn't work?
you have some words here. These are elegant words or also fancy words. The idea is to use the words that I just gave you on the Skype chat right here and begin, stop, and replace those. So initiate can be replaced by begin.
For simple words?
Yes.
Oh, okay, teacher.
But Laura, don't give the answers right now. You can do it on a Word document. And in 5 minutes, I'm gonna come back and ask each of you, right? That's okay, don't worry.
I'm sorry, teacher.
Okay, girls, so time's over. Let's start with number 1. So, Daniel, which one is number 1? Initiate.
Begin.
Begin. Let me write it. Very well. How about number 2, Dania?
Do?
2. All right. Number 3.
No. Do.
I'm sorry. Quantify.
Measure.
Okay, I'm gonna give this one to you, but we're
Okay,
gonna continue. Now, utilize. Laura, which one is utilize?
Use.
Yes, very good. Furnish.
I put measure, but I don't know if the word correct.
Furnish. How about perform?
Try.
Try. Okay. Manifest. For this I want Viviana to tell me. This one's good. This one's good.
Manifest, tell or express. Manifest, tell or express.
Tell. Attempt.
Verbs or respond. Tell, respond.
No, but manifest, you said it was tell. How about attempt?
See, for these
Also tell?
questions. See, for attempt, serves or respond. Servir o responder.
And begin, stop, measure, tell.
Teacher. I understand. I use this the word.
Use other words? Okay, that's fine. Dania, don't worry. Dania, attempt. Which one did you pick?
Try.
I'm sorry?
Try.
Try. Advice.
Provide.
Provide. And terminate.
Stop.
I wrote end.
And terminate. Stop. It works. Both of them work. Now we have furnish. We have end, stop, measure, tell, use, start, provide, show, give. Which one did you use for furnish, Dania?
Provide.
Give.
Give. Okay. And also,
But I'm not really sure about it.
furnish. Yeah, this one is giving me some confusion because we can use give because but we also want to give some kind of finish to that give to make it better. So we have and, begin, stop, measure, tell, try, provide. So out of this, I think it will be also try. But with a little bit of give. So I'm gonna owe you that one because I'm not sure. However,
Actually, I use something different for perform.
which one did you use?
Show.
Perform. Yeah, show works. Because when we do a performance, for example, we're doing a show. So this largely depends also on the context. So the invitation is to stop using elegant words, make it more plain. So we are gonna have lots of chances and opportunities to do that with multiple words. Attempt, try, advise, provide, stop. Yeah, I think we're correct with this one. Advise. Begin, stop, measure, tell, try, provide, show. Advise, provide. Well, we're providing advice, providing some useful information. And terminate, stop. We can also use end. Furnished. All right. So as I said, I'm gonna owe you that one, girls. And this will be it for this lesson. I wonder if you have any questions about this.
None so far.
All right. So thank you for being here, and I'll see you in the next lesson. Take care. Goodbye.
Teacher.
Bye bye. See you next class.